Hi. We often get WhatsApp messages saying that uh, the idea of gravity was stolen from India by Newton, and Newton took it away from us. And this used to be a WhatsApp joke, and we kind of ignored it. And now it's getting into our NEPV books, and if we do not hold ourselves, we will soon see our children actually reading some of these stories, WhatsApp stories, which we ignored and we thought these are just fringe ideas, into our books and textbooks. And we will nearly say Newton had stolen this from us, and we always knew about it now. Now, the first thing to construct is why is the work of Newton brilliant, right? Let me say here, like everybody knew, everybody understood, like if you drop something, it will fall. I think if you see Space Odyssey itself, you see that there is a bone which is thrown out, it doesn't go on forever. It comes down, right? I think the apes knew it, and I think many animals which have intuition would know about it. But it's a question of articulation of what is gravity, right? And even I'm sure many philosophers before Newton were able to articulate this idea of gravity, that something is coming down, the force, etc. But what was the beauty of Newton was creating a mathematical structure, creating an understanding of what this force is, right? To go back and say that the book right there behind me and myself are attracted by a force, and that force is directly proportional to the mass of me and the mass of the book, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between us, right? And that articulation of the force to explain gravity was very critical. Now, that articulation was what Newton did by spending a lot of time on the mathematics of it and building a structure for it. Was it known before to it? I'm sure some amount of it would be known before. But that articulation was Newton clinched the deal in some sense, right? That helped us understand gravity in a particular way, helped us understand the heavenly bodies around us. And that beauty is what we claim when we claim Newton's law of gravity. That's what we claim, right? Now, was it perfect? No, it was not. Much later, when the general theory of relativity came, we understood that his theory or his formulation does not work beyond a point. To understand the universe, we needed the general theory of relativity. Even that formulation required proofs by Eddington, which happened during a solar eclipse, right? And now, even for Einstein himself, we know that he was not very comfortable with the idea of an expanding universe. Hubble telescope proved that it was expanding, and he himself thought it's some sort of a mistake by him, right? So when we think about this, we must know that Newton himself, while formulating something, did not come by himself. There was a Copernicus, there was a Kepler, and all of that, and a Galileo, and that's what made Newton in some sense. And Newton's formulation may have led to what we see in Einstein, and Einstein led to Stephen Hawking and a Penrose, and so forth. So every knowledge is ever increasing. It's a cumulative nature. So it doesn't stand still. And knowledge and science actually is in the edge of knowing and not knowing. And it pushes itself, sometimes right, sometimes wrong. But it's the key thing, it's cumulative nature, right? It expands. And to go back and pinpoint one particular period and say that we knew everything at that point of time is denying ourselves of one thing, is the future, because we're taking ourselves back from the contours of not knowing and not knowing and saying we knew everything. So the main question for me would be, why doesn't the WhatsApp university tell you about the general theory of relativity? Why doesn't it tell you about that? Because it cannot tell you, because it doesn't understand it. It's much more complex. Why doesn't the WhatsApp university solve the string theory for us? No, it cannot. Why doesn't it talk about the complexities of the loop gravitational theories, right? It doesn't, because it can't understand it. Newton's theory is much more easier, and it can be very easily claimed that we knew about it because it's very simple to articulate. But science is much more complex than that. It doesn't mean science knows everything. But to go back and sit and think that we knew everything many years ago is denying our future, right? It means our children are not going to be at the edge. The physics or the world of science is facing a mini crisis, according to me. String theory has been there for a while, and it needs to find its way through. Is it the unified theory? We do not know. There is a loop quantum gravity. Penrose has suggested that the Big Bang is not necessarily the only thing which happened. There were many Big Bangs. He calls this eon, right? So we are facing a beautiful place of the contours of science where we don't know or don't know. Our children need to go and find out more. Maybe it will be our niece, our nephew, our children who will find out whether they were eons or not, right? That's the place where we want to be. Instead, our WhatsApps are telling us that we knew everything before. If we knew everything before, why is this not there in the WhatsApp, right? You have to question this, because this WhatsApp joke is now becoming a part and parcel of our textbooks. And if it becomes a part and parcel of your textbooks, your children are not going to be part of the cutting edge science discoveries, right? And that's what you need to oppose. This is going too far. Science is a quest for knowing, right? There are occasional mistakes, there are occasional errors, there are occasional debates. There are debates between how we know Eddington and maybe Chandrasekhar had some issues between themselves, right? There have been times when people have been denied. There is politics in science too. Nobody is denying that. But to think that we knew everything, and to think that we knew gravity even before it was so well articulated by Newton is denying our future, right? And hence it's very important to keep an open mind, not at all dismiss the politics of science, dismiss the politics behind it, but to deny ourselves the future would be a crime, right? So I insist that we keep ourselves open, right? We keep ourselves open because science is this quest